obviously you'd wait for the edgings, the concrete to go off. So they've been haunched well, and now you're ready to fill the middle. And the way that we do that is to make a screed board and screed off the edgings. So I'm just going to use a board. Obviously I wouldn't normally be standing in here, but it's okay, that would be limestone. And what I need to do is to mark just inside where the blocks are. So obviously I want to be able to get my screed board up and down there without too much difficulty. And I'm just going to use a set square and just mark those lines on, okay, where that occurs. The next thing I need to know is how far up here. I've got to cut out a notch now, which will mean that the blocks that I put on top of the sand will be sticking up. Now a lot of people normally cut that to about 7mm. They screed the sand and then they whacker plate it and they re-screed the sand and then put the blocks on. Some people cut this back so that the blocks are sitting up about 13 to 15mm. They screed the sand, put the blocks on, and then whacker and do it all in one go. We're going to do the first method. So what I need to do, this particular block is a drive line 50, it's 50mm, and I'm going to cut it back 7mm, so that's going to be 43. So I'm going to mark on here 43mm, and then we'll do 43. Same on the other side, 43 and 43, and then just join them up. And that's going to be waste, so I'm just going to put some hatch lines just to show that's waste. And on this side we're going to do the same. And now I'm just going to remove that, chop that out, and then that's going to be my screed board. Okay. I'll put my screed board to one side and we'll fill in with wash sand. It must be wash sand, don't use building sand. That just doesn't got the sort of foundational properties as wash sand has. So sharp sand, wash sand, concreting sand is all the same thing. So I'm just going to fill that up to something that I think is not far off, and then we'll have a look at it. Okay. I'm going to use the steel float just to just roughly level it. I find the steel float is quite a handy tool to have just to move the wash sand around. Okay, so I'm going to start off with that. I'll just put the steel plate to one side. Just have a little go at screeding just to see how far off that is. So I'm just going to need a little bit more. This time I use my trowel. Only need a little bit. Just a little bit more. That's now pretty much there. So what I can do now is get my float, just use the float and pull off any excess. So just trim that off, pop that into the wheelbarrow. Okay, and what I'll do is just use the float just to blend that in a little bit. Just make sure it's all ready. Okay, and that would be the sand all nice and screeded out, and that would be whackered then, so you'd whacker that and that will get rid of any slight irregularities. Okay, been whackered out and we're ready to put the screed back on again. So we should have got rid of any little irregularities now, and okay, and you're now ready to start laying the blocks. So you're ready to think about the pattern that you're going to lay, okay, on the blocks. Obviously, we need to think, we don't want to be treading in the wash sand now, so you might have to think about putting boards down or planks and different things like that. Normally you start from a corner and work up. So we've got different bonds. This again, I need to put my gloves on, so I'll just get my gloves because the sharp edges on the blocks. And we'll try a few different bonds. We'll have a look first of all at basket weave. So we can put 2 that way and then 2 the other way. This has got a chip out of it, so that would be worth discarding. 2 that way, and then you just keep changing the bond the opposite way, so that's 2 that way. So again, make sure that you slide the blocks in, slide them down like that, slide it down, otherwise you'll find that you'll get gaps, and then that you won't have enough room at the end to get the final block in. Remember, we added a little bit extra, about 5 mil, so I've got to even these out a little bit. So I'd rather have a little bit of a tiny gap than have it absolutely tight that you can't get your blocks in, and you have to cut a little piece off each one. Okay, we could have gone a little bit less on the gap on that, but that'll be okay, we'll even it out. And we could fill it up like that. So that's basket weave, which would look quite nice in this particular thing. The only problem is, on this one, we'd need to have gone 1 more block to get 2 that way, then 2 that way. So that's basket weave.